So I'm here today to talk about Dynamics 641, the art and science of organizational coaching. And I have with me Amrita Subramanian.
Thank you so much, Zach, for having me here. I am very excited about the course, and I'm very excited about the fall because perfect timing to have a conversation around the times we're in, the crazy, crazy times where none of our old parameters or given realities hold. So ask away. What can I tell you about the course?
Okay, so why did you create the course? So tell me about from your perspective, the importance of the art and science of organizational coaching.
Well, so I think it behooves a bit of background. I have an experience of 2 or more decades around banking, and I have lived in 17 countries and lived and loved and worked with people. And one of the things that I understood as I came into the role of senior executive was that most of us are very uncomfortable about talking about the most obviously difficult things that we must. For instance, now that we are in pandemic, how do I talk about this to the people who I won't be able to see, touch? And these could be 8,000 employees, it could be 800, it could be the 8 direct team members, it could be your peers, it could be your teenage child, it could be your partner, it could be your neighbor who needs help. It could be the parent that you can't go and see. Now, the reason I'm talking about organizational coaching in the context is because it's professional. The boundaries of the course is to look at professional relationships, the dynamics, the political, socio-cultural realities. And now that we've all gone overnight from in-person sensory feelings to completely digital, where I can't break the fourth wall. It's always the theater of the digital. So, sorry. I have to cancel that. I'm really sorry.
No problem.
This is the digital, high-tech world that I live in. I have five units in front of me, and I'm managing all of this. So, so I created the course because my intention was to legitimize safety, especially psychological safety, to have these difficult conversations and to give tools to people to figure out that, can I have these conversations? You may not choose to be a coach because this is an experimental course, radically experimental. We all think that to be coaches, we need to have halos, or I need to be on top of a mountain doing Om, but it is not that. It is a very practical, live, active practice where you look at conversation as your vehicle. This is the bias of action. Because as human beings, we are the only one who uses language, and we cannot think without a language. Try having a thought without language. So we need to frame our thoughts and need to frame our conversation, especially if we're moving decisions. Organizational coaching, the science looks at how do I move decisions in the organization. So it's a very particularly active part of creating coalitions, collaborations, moving things forward, especially when there is the classic phenomena of being stuck. Like, I know everything, everybody else knows everything, and nobody's doing jack, because the biggest Achilles heel in an organization, bad decision, worse than bad decision, is indecision, worse than indecision, is the betrayal of trust because of inertia. So that's what the coaching does. And I did not see a course that led to that at an experimental level, because most people would say, well, I don't have time for this. But the idea is that coaching is not a time-intensive. Learning could be. But this course was designed as an experiment to even find out if you have that nerve, the aptitude of becoming a coach. For instance, you might say that I'm great as a client, but I really don't like being a coach. Love being a coach, don't like being a client. Those are revelations to ourselves that I like it when somebody else discloses, but I'm kind of pretty guarded about my own intimacy. So how does that work when it comes to interpersonal relationships? That's the unit of analysis. Most of the time, we are rather caught up in our blind spots, not knowing why our equation in the relationship is the way it is. Coaching allows you to make the implicit explicit, unconscious conscious. So you suddenly start looking at the dynamics of a relationship or the dynamics of a situation in the way you think about it. And it's all about getting multiple perspectives around a point of view. We love our truths, but sometimes when you expand your horizon, you see there is much more to the picture than what you assume. This is why I created the course, and I created it virtually back 3 years ago, it's a fairly recent course, is because I believed people all over the world needed to understand that having a conversation through the vehicle of coaching can be so rich in its nuance that I cannot just look at it as a continent, how people in this continent speak. Because today, if you walk about, there are 5 generations at any go, and you have 4 bloodlines at any go. So, there is no one entity. So it was important that we created a platform where international students like me could come together and have rich conversations. Does that help?
Absolutely. I think you shared a lot. There's a lot in that you just shared, but the couple of things that really stuck out to me. I love one of the phrases that you used. You said there's a betrayal of trust because of the inertia, the failure to act, the failure to launch, and having been part of a large organization and see initiatives die and you lose so much energy and steam, and that's something that comes with experience and time. It's not. It's maybe not always obvious that that's going on. So it's I love the multi-layer approach that you bring to this.
Sure. I think it's important to also understand that the people, and this, since it is a very new and something that we always get over-registered for, it's a learning for me as a teacher too, because I'm a practitioner who's straddling that world, and I coach. I'm an executive coach, so I'm able to see that the students who come in are usually very mature participants. The mean age is around 38, 39. You might have someone who is a millennial and someone who is a baby boomer, someone who is somewhere in Generation X. They all have very different toolkits. And if they have been internationally exposed, then it's an even richer, more nuanced toolkit. And so when these conversations take place, there are multiple kinds of organization and multiple kinds of life history. So the whole class, like I said, is radically experimental, is we meet in the evenings and we do live sessions. So we have actual live sessions, and these are not role plays. So say if you and I were in the class, you would be talking about a professional challenge, a very immediate challenge, and we will work through that challenge with the coach. The only difference is that it would be an ascending spiral of experience, quite like the golden ratio behind me, that the conversation becomes more and more technically sound and complex as you dive deeper and deeper into the challenge. The feedback so far from the students has been that they never realized that the presenting issue or the presenting problem was not the real problem. The real problem hit somewhere else, which is always the case, right? The problem is never the problem. So this features 3 kinds of muscles. The first muscle is to understand that the questions sometimes we ask beyond the obvious need to be framed in a certain way that they get to the root of it in one go. So it's Occam's razor, get to the other point the quickest you can. Yes. The second one is about dealing with anxiety, the anxiety of the unknown, and staying in the uncertain. There are answers we won't know until the questions that we don't know how to ask get asked. So, how do we get to that point? And the third is realizing that insight into a problem does not solve the problem. You may know the why, but that doesn't make the problem go away. Then it is the question to act. So that's what this course is about. People come in to learn this muscle, and when they learn the combination of it, they have said that they've gone away as better parents, better teachers, better leaders, better community members. So, it's one tour. It's like equifinality. Many routes to one truth. So this is one route to becoming a better whoever you are by many, many notches. And I'm quoting this out of the feedback that we've received because it was an insight to me that I was designing this for a course, but the way students have explored it has blown it out of proportion. So really it's my tip of the hat to them, how well they have used the course, because education is what you make it. So from that perspective, I'm pretty excited because the kind of students who have rolled in this fall are a very mature set of students. I know some of them are new. I think I only have a few seats left, so maybe 1 or 2. I'm not certain on that.
I may actually grab one of those now after this conversation. So.
I'd love to have you there. And I teach it with my fellow teacher, Linda Pennington, but here's what I do. I expose them to a lot of mentors. So there are a lot of other coaches who come in. You just don't see my style. You see many other. The theoretical part of it is very, very simple. We've kept simple theory, but we've looked at complex problems with simple theory because there's nothing so practical as a good theory. So we've taken a good theory and we've looked at really playing with it. So this is a highly active class. You know, you can't skate, you can't hide behind linguistic verbosity in your papers. This is about doing. You know, so if you're out there, then you've got to put yourself out there and risk being seen as the human being you are. So, so I welcome you to figure out if there is a coach in you, if you like being coached, who are you? But above all, the most important thing I'm inviting you is to explore yourself as a human being. You know, that's what this course is about. And then I can trust you to use it to the best of your capacity. You know, philosopher's stone, that's within us. So, you know, we do what we must.
Thank you so much for sharing. This is a great conversation and just a fascinating set of materials and toolkits and processes. And I'm excited. I think I may sign up for the course now.
Well, Zach, thank you so much. And I welcome you into the course, and I welcome people who are out there who are wondering if this is a muscle. But remember this, in crisis, nothing helps more than an open conversation. Hiding from it is the worst gift to give yourself or to someone else. It's extremely important to make the implicit explicit. That is the need for today's world, especially when we are locked in our virtual images and a snapshot. So I will leave you with that, and I hope if there's anything else, you will let me know. You can reach me, my email address, the course details are all out there. And I look forward to seeing new people, old people. You know, it's Penn. We're all one family. So come on over, you know.
Powerful, powerful words. Thank you so much. So again, this is Dynamics 641, the art and science of organizational coaching. And I'm joined here with Amrita Subramanian. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zach.